Hey guys, this is Gary. The latest spy shots of the new ZR1 and mid-engine Corvette have been spotted by Road & Track and a few other magazines. Let me tell you what I think may be lurking under the camouflage. There are two different Corvettes in question from what I see when looking at the latest testing shots in the snow. This Corvette is what I believe to be the C7 Corvette ZR1. This one is what I believe to be the future mid-engine C8 Corvette. Chevy looks to be testing both of them together at the same time. The ZR1 will be the top-of-the-line track version of the C7 Corvette. The camo is found more on the front of the car, where most of the changes are. Even the star-shaped wheels are different from the Z06 and probably wider, with stickier tires too. The front bumper now has large openings to help with cooling and looks to provide some aero enhancements also. It's been seen with several wing options in the back, so they may just be testing them out right now. This looks to be a track-oriented Corvette, very much like the Viper ACR. It also has a larger bulge on the hood compared to the Z06. The ZR1 should make more than the Z06's 650 horsepower. It was rumored to be 700 horsepower or more. The current Z06s have been reported to have heating issues, so making more power would require more cooling, which the large openings in the front bumper and maybe hood should provide. As far as engines go, I think they'll still be using the LT4, but with a larger supercharger and heat exchanger. Take a look at the Callaway Corvette with its larger supercharger. There's an opening on top of the hood because it sits taller and wider to fit the unit. It's rated at 757 horsepower, which meets or exceeds the rumored 700 horsepower for the new ZR1. I don't believe we'll see the rumored LT5 dock motor in the C7, which Chevy had recently applied for a trademark and included in its engine lineup. To me, it's too soon that they're already bringing this new V8 dock engine out to production. Chevy doesn't really have an existing V8 dock motor with the LT5 characteristics that's being used in its current lineup. I'm not sure if they're going to team up again with Mercury Marine, whom originally helped design the first LT5 ZR1 in the 90s. Being that it's still using the LT family designation, it may be the same block, but with dual overhead cam heads, which Mercury Marine may engineer and manufacture. They've created dual overhead cam heads for LS family based engines in the past, so this shouldn't be anything out of their expertise. It could also be a whole new different engine. I would think that the LT5 dock V8 would not fit in the current C7 engine bay, even with the bulge on top of the hood. Just look and you'll find that it's already pretty tight with the pushrod LT1. Check out this comparison of the Chevy small block versus a Ford dock V8. There's a very big difference since the dock heads are much larger and causes the motor to be wider and maybe even taller than the compact pushrod V8. I get the feeling the dock V8 motor is being set up for the upcoming C8 Corvette, which will be a clean start for the mid-engine platform. Here's my reasoning. We'll go back and reference the engine document earlier. The most noticeable is the dock in the LT5 details. Notice that the LT4 has SC for supercharged, and it's not found on the LT1 or LT5, which means there's no supercharger. The dock 6.2 liter LT5 will not make 700 horsepower, even with a 9,000 RPM redline that'll meet emissions and daily drivability requirements. It looks to have a new spark ignition direct injection system compared to the LT1 and LT4. The LT5 is actually closer in features to the LF3, right above it, excluding the 6-cylinder, 3.6 liter, and twin turbo. This might be another option to look into since the engine can be found in the Cadillac CTS and XTS V Sport. If it's similar to the LF3, we may get a mid-engine twin-turbo C8 Corvette in the future, maybe as a Z06 or ZR1. We've already seen the future C8 being tested, originally in a mid-engine Holden Commodore SSV front clip concoction, and now with a modified C7 body. It looks very similar to a Lamborghini Gallardo. The rear is long with a flat hatch and the front short, which indicates mid-engine. The low profile also looks very similar, and this is the first time I've seen these wheels appear, which may be specific to the mid-engine platform. Comparing to a C7 Z06 based off of these reference points in green, they've moved the front wheels back since the engine is no longer in the front of the car, and I think they even moved the rear wheels back about 10 inches to accommodate the mid-engine or transaxle. This decreases the wheelbase and should help with rotating the car during a turn. The center of gravity is also lowered by having the engine behind the driver and should provide better traction since the weight is over the rear wheels, especially during acceleration. The sides have large vents to provide airflow to the mid-engine components. The front bumper is short and flat, with probably smaller vents now for brake cooling, and maybe a little aero since they're no longer required for a radiator or engine. This is just an early prototype, so I'm sure they'll change that in the production model. The C8 Corvette will now be able to compete with Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, and the upcoming Ford GT in the mid-engine supercar market, for probably less too, because it's always been the budget performance supercar. Chevy is most likely going to leave the front engine rear-wheel drive configuration to the Camaro, so the Camaro will be the halo car for the rear-wheel drive platform, and the Corvette will be the halo car for the mid-engine platform. Something to consider: Chevy is closing the plant in Bowling Green for the third and fourth quarter of this year to do a remodel of the facility, and they mentioned the continuation of the C7 manufacturing afterwards. The C7 could potentially be phased out in late 2019 if the C8 Corvette launches in 2020. Well, that's all I have for now until more leaks come out. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe for future updates, and check out my other videos. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.